Hello my fellow YouTubers. Well, we're in Think Analytical channel and we're going to be reading today a piece from Steven Pinker's The Language Instinct, in which he talks about he makes a resume of Donald E. Brown, an anthropologist's account of the universal people. So, inspired by Chomsky's universal grammar, Brown has tried to characterize the universal people. He has scrutinized the archives of ethnography for universal patterns underlying the behavior of all documented human creatures, keeping a skeptical eye out both for claims of the exotic belied by the ethnographer's own reports and for claims of the universal based on flimsy evidence. The outcome is stunning. Far from finding arbitrary variation, Brown was able to characterize the universal people in gloriously rich detail. His findings contain something to startle almost anyone, and so I will reproduce the substance of them here. According to Brown, the universal people have the following: value placed on articulateness, gossip, lying, misleading, verbal humor, humorous insults, poetic and rhetorical speech forms, narrative and storytelling, metaphor, poetry with repetition of linguistic elements in 3-second lines separated by pauses, words for days, months, seasons, years, past, present, future, body parts, inner states, emotions, sensations, thoughts, behavioral propensities, flora, fauna, weather, tools, space, motion, speed, location, spatial dimensions, physical properties, giving, lending, affecting things and people, numbers, at the very least, 1, 2 and more than 2, proper names, possession, distinction between mother and father, kinship categories defined in terms of mother, father, son, daughter and age sequence, binary distinctions including male and female, black and white, natural and cultural, good and bad, measures, logical relations including not, and, same, equivalent, opposite, general versus particular, part versus whole, conjectural reasoning, inferring the presence or absence of invisible entities from their perceptible traces, non-linguistic vocal communication such as cries and squeals, interpreting intention from behavior, recognizing facial expressions of happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust and contempt. Use of smiles as a friendly greeting, crying, coy flirtation with the eyes, masking, modifying and mimicking facial expressions, displays of affection. Sense of self versus other, responsibility, voluntary versus involuntary behavior, intention, private inner life, normal versus abnormal mental states, empathy, sexual attraction, powerful sexual jealousy, childhood fears, especially of loud noises, and at the end of the first year, strangers. Fear of snakes, Oedipal feelings, possessiveness of mother, coolness toward her consort. Face recognition, adornment of bodies and arrangements of hair, sexual attractiveness, based in part on signs of health and, in women, youth. Hygiene, dance, music, play, including play fighting. Manufacture of and dependence upon many kinds of tools, many of them permanent, made according to culturally transmitted motives, including cutters, pounders, containers, string, levers, spears, use of fire to cook for food and for other purposes, drugs, both medicinal and recreational, shelter, decoration of artifacts. Just to remind you, we're reading Donald E. Brown's account of the universal people, which means characteristics which are spread and ubiquitous among all civilizations of mankind. Manufacture of and dependence upon many kinds of tools, many of them permanent, made according to culturally transmitted motives, including cutters, pounders, containers, strings, levers, spears, use of fire to cook food and for other purposes, drugs, both medicinal and recreational, shelter, decoration of artifacts, a standard pattern and time for winning, living in groups which claim a territory and have a sense of being a distinct people. Continues in the next video.